Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news that I come across throughout the day, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. Hopefully, all you guys are doing wonderful. Hopefully, all you guys are well. Today is December 21st, and it is Saturday. No, it's Sunday, actually, not Saturday. Hopefully, all you guys are having a wonderful day so far. It's been a pretty interesting weekend so far, absolutely. But if you're new here, please consider subscribing. All the support would be greatly appreciated as we're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube by this summer. We're getting close to 600 or 700 already. I mean, we're shooting up there. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. All the support would be greatly appreciated as we try to hit that goal. And if you're on Substack, please also consider subscribing as well. It's $8 a month. All funds go to me. It helps me pay for the things that I need to pay for in my life, like my groceries, like my clothing, like all those kinds of things. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support on this content. With that being said, let's get into the news from today. Hopefully all you guys are doing wonderful, and let's get into the Trump, or actually not the Trump administration. We're talking about the Epstein files still. Todd Blanche has admitted to taking down pictures of Trump from the Epstein files. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has admitted that the DOJ took down images within the Epstein files that had Trump in them, but claims it has nothing to do with President Trump, and came per request of victim advocacy groups. Blanche said on NBC News' Meet the Press, we don't have perfect information, and so when we hear from victims' rights groups about this type of photograph, we'll pull it down and investigate. We're still investigating that photo. The photo will go back up, and the only question is whether there will be redactions on the photo. If this is the case, sure, absolutely, victims should be protected without a doubt, 100%. But my question is, why are we removing the pictures that involve Trump when these are like the only pictures with Trump in them? Not to mention, if you look at the picture, it's all over the internet. It's the one that shows a bunch of other people on this table with a bunch of famous people that Epstein has met. If you look at that picture that they took down, there's not really anyone within that picture that could be a victim at all. It's a lot of famous people. You know, you see an image of a previous pope. I'm not sure which one in particular. You see pictures of Trump and Epstein. You see pictures of Bill Clinton and Epstein. All of these famous people, you know? And it just seems super suspicious that the one photo or the one very few photos out of the very few photos of Trump has been removed. You know, that just seems super odd. In other news, contempt proceedings are being drafted against Pam Bondi. Representatives Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie are drafting contempt charges against Attorney General Pam Bondi after the Department of Justice refused to release all of the Epstein files. In an interview on CBS Face the Nation, Representative Thomas Massie said, there are several ways to get at this. Some take longer, some take shorter. The quickest way, and I think the most expeditious way, is to get justice for these victims, is to bring inherent contempt against Pam Bondi. And that doesn't require going through the courts. Basically, Ro Khanna and I are talking about drafting that right now. This is absolutely great. And it's something that needs to be done as soon as possible. You know, the files were supposed to be released in full days ago. In full. And instead we got redactions and not even a full release. You know, it is an absolute joke. And everyone who is stopping the release of the files needs to go to prison. They should be treated like those who are within the files, because they are actively stopping essentially pedophiles from being gone after. You know, that is what they are doing. They are protecting pedophiles, and anyone who's protecting pedophiles should be seen on the same level. In other news, Todd Blanche has also admitted to signing off on Ghislaine Maxwell's security transfer. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has admitted to signing off on Ghislaine Maxwell's transfer to a minimum security prison, defending his decision by saying it was done to protect her from threats. In an interview with Meet the Press, Blanche said, "At the time I met Miss Maxwell, there was a tremendous amount of scrutiny and publicity towards her and the institution she was in. She was suffering numerous threats against her life." But Blanche didn't elaborate on what those threats were or what he meant by that. Numerous threats, but he won't explain what that is. Why are we protecting people who are trafficking children in the first place? Come on, like, why are we doing that? You know, not to mention, you know, nobody on the internet who is threatening Maxwell is going to be able to do anything to her. Let's be real here. Like, let's put our thinking caps on. You know, that's just not going to happen. You know, the average internet person is not going to be able to do that. You know, Maxwell lucked out by only getting 20 years. That's the truth. She lucked out by only getting 20 years. She should be in prison for the rest of her life for playing a role in trafficking prison. If you disagree with that, maybe we're just different. I don't know. But she should be in prison for the rest of her life. And she should have to serve every single one of those years in a max security prison. The fact that she is in a prison where she is being able to have, an anxiety dog, or, being able to walk around the prison after hours and get all this special treatment is insane. She trafficked children. She should not be getting that special treatment. She shouldn't. There is no excusing that. That woman should be in prison for the rest of her life and lucked out by getting 20 years. And now she is walking around a minimum security prison yard with puppies. What are we doing? Like, that is insane on so many levels. In other news, Congress is also urging whistleblowers to come forward. California Representative Robert Garcia has urged FBI and DOJ employees who are upset with the Trump administration's redactions of the Epstein files to come forward and speak out as whistleblowers, promising that they'll be protected. Garcia said on MS Now, "If you are a whistleblower at the FBI, at the Department of Justice, if you worked hard to put the files together and are seeing your work be hidden by your own Department of Justice, contact the Oversight Committee. We have whistleblower protections. We want to make sure that the truth gets out and that survivors are protected." Hopefully this does get out and people speak up. I highly doubt that if anyone within the DOJ or FBI watches my content, but if you do, and you know anything within the files, please go and speak out. That would be amazing. If the Trump administration and the DOJ won't be honest, the people who have seen those files should be. They know what's in those files. They have the ability to come out and say what's in there because they've seen it firsthand. Let's hear the truth. If the Trump administration isn't going to do it, if the Department of Justice isn't going to bring the truth, somebody should, and the whistleblowers have the opportunity to do so. Anyways, moving on into our segment about ICE, we have one topic here today. As 4 people this week have died in ICE custody. As you know, that is the topic of the title of the video, mostly because I have a lot to say here. The topic as a whole doesn't really have a lot of information. But 4 immigrants have died in ICE custody this week, according to reports from Reuters. The 4 were from Haiti, Nicaragua, Eritrea, and Bulgaria. 2 are believed to have died from medical emergencies. The other 2 died of natural causes. This has marked 30 deaths total this year in ICE custody. The Reuters article was not very long, so that's all about I have for you. But I do have a lot to say about this, as I always do with ICE. Yes, fuck ICE, truly. But 4 people dying this week is far too many. We already know that the conditions within these ICE facilities are absolutely horrible, and people are frequently left without medical attention. That's one of the main reasons why Alligator Alcatraz was shut down, and it's definitely led to deaths. 30 this year have been confirmed. 30 deaths in ICE custody have been confirmed this year, and that is far too many. And there very well could be many more that we don't even know about. ICE needs to be shut down. Absolutely. They need to be shut down as soon as possible. Nobody should be in ICE custody in the first place. We are a country built off immigration and with an immigration system that doesn't even work in the first place. I am tired of hearing the argument, people need to come here legally. The reason why people are in ICE custody is because they're not coming here legally. That is a bullshit argument. Most of the people who are in this country are actively going through the citizenship process. How many people have we talked about on this page that have been detained while they're going to their court hearings, while they're meeting with judges, and while they're going through the process of becoming citizens? Thousands. We have talked about so many people where that has been the case. You want to know why they aren't citizens? Because our immigration system prioritizes white people and throws people of color to the side. That's just the fact of the matter. You look at the refugees and all the stuff that we have talked about recently. Just a few months ago, the Trump administration prioritized white South African refugees over everyone else. Our immigration system directly prioritizes white people. That's why so many people within the United States who come from, the southern border or from anywhere else around the world don't have a green card or don't have citizenship. A lot of these people are in the process of getting that citizenship too, yet they're detained by ICE anyways at these court hearings or these events or all of these other things. We have deported veterans under this administration. ICE has detained American citizens under this administration, not to mention just all of the people who have been detained going to these court hearings and these court meetings. I mean, it is absolutely disgusting that this continues to happen on a day-to-day basis, on a month-to-month basis, on a week-to-week basis, and it will continue throughout the rest of this administration if something is not done to stop it. Not to mention all of the horrific conditions that we have at these ICE facilities. I mean, there is so much proof of that. You know, we have had lawmakers go to these ICE facilities and have come out and spoken to people at these ICE facilities and have told us that the conditions of these ICE facilities are absolutely disgusting. I mean, ICE is a disgusting agency, and they actively are used to prey and target and profile minorities. And if you, for some still reason, support what we have seen from ICE since the start of this administration, you are just as disgusting as ICE is themselves. That is a statement I will stand by. I'm not taking that back. I'm going to stand by that statement. Fuck ICE. Fuck Donald Trump. And fuck our government for allowing things to continue like this day after day, month after month. It is absolutely disgusting. And disgusting as a word is an understatement. The immigration system in this country is absolutely horrific, and something needs to be done to change that. I say that time and time again, and that is one of my first priorities when I make it into office. People should be allowed to come to this country, and it should not be impossible to do that. People should be allowed to come to the United States and live and have a better life. They should be allowed to be and live the American dream. It is a joke that our administration actively prevents people from doing that. Anyways, moving on into our other news segment, there was a mass shooting that unfortunately did take place today in South Africa. 9 people have been killed, 10 wounded after a shooting at a pub in South Africa. The incident occurred before 1 a.m. at a town in, I'm going to pronounce this horrifically and I apologize for that, Beckersdal, according to AP News and local authorities. This is the second mass shooting in South Africa to happen within the last 3 weeks. 12 unknown suspects showed up in a white minibus in a silver sedan and opened fire on the pub and continued to shoot as randomly as they fled the scene. According to local police, some of the victims were randomly shot in the streets by unknown gunmen. This is absolutely horrible news, and my full condolences go to anyone who is impacted. I hope anyone who is injured is able to recover, and I hope all of these families who have been impacted by their losses are able to recover as well. You know, mass shootings are absolutely horrific, and hopefully the people who did commit this attack are found and are arrested. I know South Africa's political situation is definitely an interesting thing, especially as a whole. South Africa is a very interesting country right now, especially with the refugees coming to the United States, all these white farmers who are coming to the United States, and the rest of the country as a whole. There's a lot of things going on within this country, and it's a horrible situation, and it's horrible that things like this have to take place. Good luck to all those who are searching for these shooters. Hopefully they are found. In other news, performers are canceling their Kennedy Center appearances after the Trump name change. The Kennedy Center is already losing performers after they changed the name of it to the Trump Kennedy Center, according to a new report from Notice. Christy Lee, a folk singer who was supposed to perform there early in January, on January 14th, is currently in the process of canceling her performance, as well as many others are looking to do the same. This is absolutely great, and I hope we see more of this. Trump's name being on the Kennedy Center is an absolute joke. Not only that, but it is such a shame that a historic building has been done like that. I mean, the Kennedy Center is a memorial to JFK, not Trump. It's a memorial for a man who has passed. I mean, this is like if Trump went out there and said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna build a Trump statue, and it's gonna go right on the Lincoln Memorial, and we're gonna say, oh yeah, this is the Trump Lincoln Memorial." Like, that's what this is. You can compare that. That is definitely a comparison you can make. And the fact that Trump feels the need to have his name on there is absolutely deplorable. The committee who voted for this, all of those were installed by Trump. All of them are MAGA loyalists. Not to mention the names were put on the building literally the day after that was voted to be approved. They knew this was going to happen, and I guarantee you Trump for sure played a role in it happening. And it is absolutely disgusting that is the case. Anyways, moving on into our final topic for tonight, a third oil tanker has been captured by U.S. forces, or is being pursued by U.S. forces at the very least right now, if it hasn't been captured yet. The Coast Guard is pursuing a third oil tanker near Venezuela. According to a new report from Reuters, government officials claim this tanker is under sanctions, but did not provide a specific location on the tanker or why it is under sanctions. Officials said the pursuit is related to a sanctioned dark fleet vessel and claims that it is flying under a false flag. This is the second capture of an oil tanker this weekend. Unshockingly, there's a blockade going on, and they are going to continue to do that over the next few days. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world. That's just the truth of it. Their economy grows off of it. It functions off of it. It brings a lot of money into the country. We don't own their oil, and we are actively trying to steal it by capturing these tankers. We don't own anything within Venezuela. We don't own their land. We don't own their oil. We don't own anything. Trump can claim that as much as they want. Trump can claim, oh, we own their land. We own the oil. He can say that as much as he wants. But it's not true. We do not own that land. Venezuela is not U.S. territory. We don't even have influence over Venezuela. We have no relation, no connection, no control over Venezuela. We do not own anything. We don't have anything over there. There's no more else I need to say there. We don't own anything with Venezuela. This is a conflict based off of American imperialism, and it absolutely needs to end. This is a conflict with the United States, and they are trying to assert control over a country that they have not had influence over. Venezuela is a Russian ally. It's a Chinese ally. They have connections with countries that aren't related to the United States, just like Cuba. And the only reason we are going after Venezuela is because they have oil. It's not about drugs. It's never been about drugs. If we really cared about drugs, we would be apprehending all of the American citizens who bring drugs into this country. We're not doing that. We don't care about drugs in this country. We never have. The CIA has been funneling drugs into communities throughout the country for years and years and years. Let's be real here. They don't care about that. This is a conflict to expand American power and American control, and it needs to be shut down. It's absolutely disgusting. And we shouldn't be in conflicts like this in the first place. No more new wars. That's what Trump said. It is absolutely a joke. And this conflict needs to end. With that being said, though, thank you everyone for watching today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed. It has for sure been an interesting day and an interesting weekend overall. But I hope you all enjoyed this episode. We've been streaming Minecraft on TikTok Live all weekend. And if you're interested in checking that out and coming and hanging out with me, asking me questions, yapping about whatever, I'm down to have a conversation. So, pop in and say hello on the TikTok Live. All the support is greatly appreciated on all my platforms. I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on Substack, I'm on YouTube, I'm on TikTok. I'm everywhere, So drop a subscribe, drop a follow on all those platforms. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you're on YouTube, of course, subscribe if you haven't already. What are you doing, guys? We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers by this summer. I believe we might even hit it before this summer. I'm going to be completely real with you guys. So drop a subscribe. All the support is greatly appreciated. And if you're on Substack, please consider subscribing as well. Again, all funds go to me. It helps me pay for my bills. It helps me pay for my groceries. It helps me pay for my clothing. This is a viewer-supported show, so all the support is truly greatly appreciated. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's episode. I truly do appreciate it. We're out here building a political platform. So if you're interested in a country that actually has a better immigration system, that provides things like free healthcare, that provides things like free higher education, and so many more things that we should have in this country that we don't already, drop a subscribe because that's my goal when I make it into office. Bray 2030. Don't forget it. With that being said, have a good one, guys.